Inspired Life podcast, where we tackle common life concerns and spark our greatness. We use solutions-based approaches to love, life, and business with the whole intent of being our own version of amazing. Last episode, we talked about 10 money moves to make right now, especially for millennials. It was an excellent conversation. We discussed the new age of business, self and health care for more wealth, and so many other things that can help us be a better version of ourselves as we get our financial house in order. Grab your friends, your business besties, tune in and take the tidbits so that you can get your money right, be about your bag in a better way, and build the business that you always wanted. This week, we are going to take a dive away from business and even a little bit away from Black women's health, even though that's been one of our ongoing conversations, and kind of intertwine the two. And we're going to throw in me. We're going to talk a little bit about me and the journey that I've been on, where the podcast has been this past year, and where we are right now. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, I just want to say thank you. You wouldn't believe the journey unless you are a person who has had to embark upon it the same way and with the same tools, mindsets, obstacles, successes, and opportunities that I've had. And I say that to say, having gone through this, I so better understand everyone else's journey and the fact that no two processes are the same, even if we all have the same playbook. So I'm super grateful to everyone who has stuck by me for this first year of working full-time, being a full-time podcaster, entrepreneur, and really honing in on being able to show up and serve. And with that said, it's been a journey through 1,000 lies and a million wonderful truths at the same time. And behind the scenes, I've definitely been blessed to have a lot of learning, camaraderie, and partnership through my growth spurts and curves. I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities to help to continue to keep the lights on, pay the bills, show up here so we can drop these nuggets, develop our platform on YouTube so that we can do more giving, more discussing, and more helping others to become their best selves. And I'm really, really grateful for that support because we know that love don't pay bills. And so it has been people's love of my craft and belief in me that has had them just so enamored with the process and the mission to help everybody be their best that people have actually put in that elbow grease with me, and they have put in that effort and that financial fortitude to help me to continue to pursue opportunities and to gain opportunities that keep me and my team paid. So I'm super grateful for that. Special shout out to you if you are one of those people who has given the support in the form of dollars and cents and dollar signs. And then platforms and my team. Like having a platform, having other platforms being made available. Everybody who's had me on their podcasts, websites, features, articles, mentions, interviews, Google, all of the things and all the things. Natrice Spicer, The Inspired Life. We are out here. We are working. We are competing. We are applying. So for all of the grant opportunities, all of the pitch opportunities, the feedback, I mean, just from all of the many entrepreneurs and millionaires who have imparted their wisdom and their time and their platforms to allow us a place to speak and be seen and heard. I'm super grateful. And so with that being said, I've been taking care of business. And that's what I wanted to talk about today is the idea that taking care of business doesn't always look and feel the way that we want it to. Even here on this platform where we are showing up because we're driven, because we are already knowledgeable about the fact that we don't know what we don't know, and that really the ability to make our lives our best falls largely in our hands. Even here, there's obstacles, there's hiccups. There's times when you cannot always be driven for a result, and you sometimes have to be motivated by moving in a way that looks like being still and learning and pacing yourself. And so that's been our normal as of late. We went through a big spurt with the company from working with other contractors and partners and entrepreneurs to expanding some of our material to redeveloping and designing some material, and then fully enhancing our website and digital platform to something that we're just super proud of. So I couldn't be more happy about the kind of normal, but taking care of business doesn't always look like what we want it to look like. And right now where everybody has a popcorn mindset, like things develop seemingly so quickly, you get access to the news almost instantaneously. Every day there is a curse and a cure for the new thing. And so we've been roped into this conditioning of having instant gratification or instant disappointment, which leads me to my next point that a lot of us, I think, may not even be aware of it, but there is definitely a dual mindset going on. We are walking in duality, and we're being trained to do so. We're being trained to believe that while it's hopeless, it's okay to still be hopeful. And yes, those two things can be true. Sometimes reality can be hopeless. And yes, there are times when you should be hopeful in spite of what things look like. But in this world that we live in today, just being honest, we're always being skewed one way or another for somebody else's gain. So we don't really own our hopefulness or hopelessness. I think that it's a mindset that's largely being passed around and digested like good Kool-Aid. It's sweet, it's easy, it's convenient, everybody's drinking it, boom, it's the truth. And the reality is, couldn't be further than from a lie, because that's flavoring, that's sugar, that's water, that's a lot of ingredients. It's not just this natural waterfall flowing drink that's been provided for you to sip off for your nourishment. It's something that's been concocted for you to buy into it. And I'm not against us being informed. I'm just saying we have the ability to impact the way that we're informed and what we do with the information. So what I chose to do was to not get looped into constantly performing, constantly showing up, running around for every opportunity to have 10,000 likes, looping myself into the rigmarole that a lot of entrepreneurs and hustlepreneurs and polepreneurs have fallen into, with recreating the same merry-go-round, the same roller coaster that you said you wanted to get off of. And so I chose waves over roller coasters, and we'll get into that a little bit further. But I just want to really just be honest. Like, we have been working, but we haven't been in the places where you might have usually seen us, because we realize the need not to be like everybody else. And sometimes that makes you do things that don't necessarily work out for profit, doesn't work out for the general public, doesn't work out for your own idealistic timing, but overall it's going to work out for purpose. And so if I could say anything, it's that I don't regret the pace of the podcast, the pace of business, the pace of growth. I think that we are right where we need to be. We've been reflecting, internalizing, and processing before projecting, and I'm going to continue to do that. I think that I've developed a great regimen to be able to do that more effectively. Definitely going through a lot of growth curves with technology, with intellectual processing, and with just taking on current events and managing life as it's happening, has helped me to really hone in on what it takes to show up in real time and to emote and give and provide as I need to take in and grow, and kind of stay 10 steps ahead of the person who I'm presenting, so that I can always be authentic in my growth and really be living what I'm talking about. Because so many of us in this pandemic and all this melee and in the turn of the world, we went towards the source that seemed close and familiar. We went towards social media. We went towards TV. We went towards other outlets and towards people. But conversely, what that did is made a lot of people feel the need to show up, to have answers, to have results, to be packaged, to be together. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that if that's not authentically where we are. This is the Inspired Life podcast, not the Perfect Life podcast, not the Always Got It Right podcast, not the Show Up for the Dollar podcast. And I had to remind myself that it's okay. It's okay to stay true to my mission and to my purpose, and to really be about what our company is about. And we're about being right, being in alignment versus being ready. So we thank you. We appreciate you for supporting us while we take care of business. And again, taking care of business doesn't always look like doing what people want along your journey. If you're going to stay true to your purpose, and if you're going to tackle love, life, and business in a way that leads you to being your best and being authentic in that and doing what only you can do, it's going to require you to go against some things that people want, to go against some of the roller coasters that life tries to keep you on, and to get into some uncharted waters and ride some new waves for yourself, for your spirit, for the greater good of your soul's purpose. And at the end of the day, we all are trying to get to the top. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been facing the top. And the reality is that you never know what a person is going through until you ask them. And I'm the person who shows up for so many people. And so quite honestly, not a lot of people ask, and not a lot of people have known, and not a lot of people would have had the inclination to know. But that's not a cry for help. It's just a reminder that my circle is my circle, and I'm so grateful for the people who have checked, who have known, who have shared my story, and for all of you to get yourself a circle. If you're an entrepreneur who's working towards building a business, you definitely need that in order for you to find your grounding. And if you're someone who has built that, it's okay for you to realign, for you to readjust. Doesn't mean that you need to go and remove people, places, and things every level up, but it is okay for you to analyze the way that those pieces fit and to look at the moving parts as just that, moving parts. At some point, things will make sense. And then at some point, they may not. So be pliable with yourself on this journey, because the reality is the best part of you is what's going to be required for the best kind of results, right? Um, and for me, what the top has been, I've realized we talk about it like it's this grandiose place of reaching, the pinnacle of success, the utmost of dollar value and financial freedom, and all these words and some things that are cliche that we like to throw in this pot of what it means to be at the top. But really, I have found that being at the top means getting to the bottom of my trauma, my obstacles, and my process, aka my growth. It really means continuing to unpack love, continuing to unpack what it means to have business. What's your purpose? What is your mission, right? And to really be figuring out what you value in life. Like, and I had a very difficult accident back in March. It was changing for me because I'm a very healthy person, and it left me unable to do anything. And it was in that moment that I really honed in on what I consider life to be. What's the essence of doing more than existing for me, or even just being here. And it's people, life, and time, right? And so some of the things that I previously worried about, um, overthunk, was afraid of, ran towards, right? In an instant, it got changed, because even just this ability to slightly snap my fingers was taken away. And it reminded me so quickly of how much I don't care about nothing but people, life, and time. Like, in an instant, I recognize that. And so I just encourage you to figure out what your top is. What does it take? Where do you need to be? Not financially, not physically, but I'm talking about internally. Where do you need to be to reach the pinnacle of who is your best self? Who can show up and really live life? Who can be present in the moment and have a sense of fulfillment, enjoyment, success, satisfaction, and legacy about the things you do, who you are, and the gifts that you have? Because the truth is, there's always going to be something to do, something to be gained, and something being lost. So I spent this time working on getting to the top. I've been facing the top, fighting the top, and just really being honest with myself about where I am with that. And one of the things I realized is I want to be able to use this platform to be more bold, more raw, more honest about the things that we deal with in love, life, and business. And some of that does need to look like the top, the trauma, the obstacles, and the process of the growth. Because the reality is, if we're not talking about those things that hold us back, then we're being really one-sided and almost slighted or soft-hearted about what it takes for us to move forward. And I don't want to do that. So I've been unpacking a lot of love trauma, a lot of love trauma. I've done so much development, critical and personal growth, intellectual growth, business development. And love is one of those things that's been there all the time. And it shows up in a lot of ways, right? There's love hurt from relationships, from faith, from old jobs, lots of kinds of trauma that we suffer. And so I just been really unpacking that and dealing with that, making some acceptances for myself, some forgivenesses around choices I made, people I thought I knew who let me down, circumstances that I saw completely different 3 years ago than the way I see it now, things that I hold regret for in my heart, because I totally know that I was coming from a good place, and that while I may feel naive or manipulated or tricked, that doesn't speak ill of my character, that it's still okay for me to trust. It's still okay for me to believe in people. And so I just been really working with the ideology that you can do the right thing and get hurt. You can believe and be played. You can try to make peace and there's still war, right? And then just unpacking soul ties and agreements, old agreements that don't serve me, old soul ties I don't need. I really want to be in the presence of what I'm here to do. And so some of that also looks like accepting loss and grief. It's been a year of things. We've all had losses, financial, people, physical, right? And so I've gone through a lot of that too. I had a lot of financial losses. I've lost some people that I loved who were dear to me. I've watched people suffer who I care about. I've seen a lot of fallout from all of this. And so, like, processing that loss and that grief and giving myself permission to feel incomplete in some ways and to replenish myself and pour extra into my cup has definitely been a process. I think that we make light of the fact that this stuff is hard. This stuff is not easy. If it were easy to be successful, to do more than exist, to even just have a life that consistently maintained mental wealth, mental health, then everybody would be doing it. We don't want to be out here hurting. So everyone would do it if it were possible. But the reality is that this stuff is hard. And so you have to give yourself the grace to process the things going on. Otherwise, you're just continually packing them away and not dealing them while you're fighting to get to the top. You end up just drowning in all of the garbage and the grief and the junk that we quite honestly carry along. And so one of those big things for me has been womanhood and fertility. I have tender stuff around that, like, do I want babies? Really, or do I want babies because it's difficult to hold a baby, dealing with the fact that my body doesn't do the things I want it to do. Being a woman who's in a position to have so much and do so much, right? And having to hear what the rest of the world tells you you should be, think, do, look like, say, wear, and obtain. And just having to fight against that to really stick to what's my truth at every turn, stick to what I want, to know where Treese is at within herself, and to just be okay with that. I think we all have a sense of like impending doom, right? You wonder, how much time is there? Am I doing everything I can? But on the other side, you just want to feel free to be whoever you are. And so for me, I've been working at the balance of all those things, right? The balance of acceptance and freedom, the balance of losses and gains, the balance of being able to be successful but not getting everything I want, the balance of having to wait for some things that I feel I might already deserve. And so it's just been a process, and that has led me to a lot of growth, which forced me to digest my new self and to be resigned to my new normal and to continually like take care of business, like we were talking about, with reflecting and internalizing and not running from that process. And so it's led me to breaking free, and I'm so glad. So if there's anything I can encourage you in to take away from this episode, is that there's always, always a light. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and you are the light. I definitely will not deny the fact that it's been a hard time. It's been a lonely time. I've cried a lot. I've lost a lot more than I've gained. I've had a lot less sleep than ever before in my life. And this has been the most trying and demanding year, with constantly having to defend and represent and stick up for my truths, even when I'm being criticized, even when I'm not supported, even when it's not savvy, even when other people don't say it's smart, even when everyone else would rather be quiet or make nice. And so I definitely know that there's a price to be paid for walking in your truth, for pursuing your purpose and living out your passions. But I also know that a big part of that is just you really wanting to hone in on being your best self. And on the flip side of all of the motivational, empowering aspects of this conversation is the accountability. You can't get to the top without facing the bottom. And that's really what we set out to talk about anyway, is the fact that you're going to have to go through some things. You're going to have to see, admit, and adjust to some things that make it hard to smile, but all the while still push forward anyway. And I did it, and I've been doing it. And so if nothing else, one, I know it's the truth. Welcome to the Inspired Life, where we are the truth. Hello, somebody, because there's just no other better testament than you having the results yourself. And so I'm beyond proud of where I am. I'm beyond glad about the work that we continue to do here. And I hope that it encourages somebody else to continue to strive to be your best at every turn, irregardless of your commitments and your accountability to your brand, your business, your community, your family, and your goals. You owe you, and you are the most important aspect of anything that you are trying to do. So break free. I have been killing the ants. We talked about that last season. Check out one of the first few episodes. Um, if not, you can always hit us in the DM if you want to know what the ants are. But automated negative thought systems is what we were talking about. And I've been killing the ants, breaking free, changing mindsets, and just developing the way that my brain operates on an automated level. Also, choosing waves over roller coasters. I'm not riding the wheel. I refuse to get back on the wheel of insanity and just doing what doesn't make sense and being and living unhealthy just because that's what we're all doing. And so I feel like now I'm definitely in uncharted waters, and I just have to learn how to swim out here in this big wide ocean of opportunity and wellness and well-being. And that keeps me honoring my choices, knowing that it's okay to not be invited. It's okay to not show up. It's okay to be bored, to be alone, to take a break, to look a little crazy or obscure in pursuit of being your best. It's okay for some things to fall apart in order for the master plan to come together. You just have to really trust the process, as cliche as that sounds. And so I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to continuing my journey, to embracing my story. I definitely am looking forward to more healthy moments with love and life and business, and to embark in this new phase of life where I feel like I've come over survival and I've come over like conversion of difficult mindsets. And now it's just the process of adjusting to the new normal of being okay, that being okay is okay, right? In a world that constantly convinces us that no one is okay and that there's this impending detriment that nothing's going to be all right. Just being resigned to showing up, doing and being my best, and letting everything else work out in alignment from there. And so I'm looking forward to more podcast episodes, more conversations, more storytelling, and more connecting. So I hope that you will be encouraged to keep fighting to the top. I hope that you face your trauma, face your obstacles, face your processes in your growth, whatever that looks like, face it head on. Because the reality is that we cannot be our best if we're not trying to find the solutions to the things that trouble us in love, life, and business. And if we are not our best, then we cannot expect the same from anything else around us. And if we didn't come here to live, then what did we come to do? So I encourage you, be your best, give it your all, keep fighting to the top, be well, love yourself and someone else. Until we meet again. Of course, we appreciate all of the support. This wouldn't be possible without our listeners and our tribe spreading the word. This is really important to me. So I thank you for supporting us. Go ahead and leave comments on any of the social platforms. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can hit the direct messages or the DMs as it's called. Visit us on the website at www.tillforever.org. You can also leave comments and emails. Lastly, see the show notes for any tips and tidbits, as well as to drop a comment there so you can stay in tune. We love to share, collaborate, and connect. So let us know how we can collaborate and inspire your tribe.
Thanks for watching. Stay inspired. Love yourself and someone else. Make sure you check out the show notes for ways to support the brand, shop, grab accessories, and continue to stay inspired.